Have you ever noticed that a stream in the wild can look perfectly clean, almost inviting, and still be dangerous to drink? The water is clear. It moves fast over stones. It smells like nothing at all. And yet, inside that same water, there can be a world of invisible life that no glance could ever reveal. Hikers have learned this the hard way for centuries. A sip that looks harmless, followed by days of illness. So, what is really happening in that water, and why can something so pure looking turn out to be so unpredictable? The answer isn't just about dirt or mud, it's about scale. A scale far smaller than anything the eye was built to catch. Let's uncover the hidden science, right here on Simply Understood. To understand how to purify water in the wild, you first have to understand what you're actually purifying it from. Not visible debris. That's the easy part. The real threat comes from three categories: bacteria, viruses, and protozoa. Each behaves differently, and each requires a different kind of defense. Boiling is the oldest method, and still one of the most reliable. Heat water to a rolling boil for about 1 minute, and nearly everything harmful inside it is destroyed. The heat breaks down the proteins that keep bacteria and viruses functioning. It's simple, but it demands fuel, time, and a container that can handle fire. Resources that aren't always available deep in the backcountry. Filtration works differently. Instead of destroying organisms, it physically blocks them. A good filter uses microscopic pores, small enough to trap bacteria and protozoa while letting water pass through. This is why filters are rated by pore size, often around zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2 microns. It sounds impressive, but here's the catch. Viruses are even smaller than that. A standard filter can remove a parasite the size of a grain of sand in relative terms, yet let something far tinier slip right through. That gap is where chemical treatment comes in. Iodine and chlorine dioxide tablets don't block organisms. They attack them directly, disrupting cell walls and genetic material. Given enough contact time, usually 30 minutes or more, they can neutralize even the smallest viral threats that filters miss. The trade-off is patience and sometimes an aftertaste hikers have to get used to. Then there's ultraviolet light, a newer approach that scrambles the DNA of microorganisms so they can no longer reproduce. It doesn't remove anything physically, it simply makes the threat harmless from the inside out. Here's the part most people never think about. No single method covers everything perfectly. Filters miss viruses. Boiling uses resources. Chemicals take time. That's why experienced backcountry travelers often combine two methods: filtering first to remove sediment and larger organisms, then treating chemically to catch what slipped through. It isn't redundancy for its own sake. It's layered defense built from understanding exactly where each method's blind spot lies. There's a deeper reason this all matters, and it goes back further than modern gear. For most of human history, people didn't know why some water made them sick and other water didn't. They relied on instinct. Moving water seemed safer than still water, and in some cases that instinct was right. Fast-moving streams tend to have lower concentrations of certain bacteria, simply because organisms don't have time to multiply before being swept downstream. But that same fast water could still be running past an animal carcass, or through soil packed with microscopic parasites, invisible to instinct alone. The germ theory of disease, proven only in the 1800s, finally explained what people had been guessing at for thousands of years. Suddenly, the invisible had a name, a size, and a set of rules. And once something has rules, it can be defeated with method instead of luck. This is really a story about scale, and about how much of the natural world operates completely outside human perception. We trust our senses because they've kept us alive this long, but clarity was never proof of safety. It was only proof that nothing was floating on the surface. The actual danger was always microscopic, quietly indifferent to how clean the water appeared. That gap between what we can see and what can actually harm us shows up far beyond the wilderness. Clean-looking surfaces, clear air, ordinary objects, they can all hide the same kind of invisible complexity water does. Trusting appearances is often where the real risk begins. So the next time you kneel beside a clear stream, remember that clarity was never the whole story. What looks the simplest is often hiding the most, and knowing that difference is what quietly separates comfort from consequence.